Hey you! So today we are back with another review, and this is Cardcaptor Sakura Clear Card Part 1 from Manga Entertainment. Now before I jump into the review, if you want to go down and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button as well as click the notification button, you can be notified when more reviews as well as more videos drop. So let's talk about general information. This is a continuation from the original where Sakura has got all the cloud cards together. They've now turned into clear cards and she's been given a brand new key to actually try and capture them all. Lee comes back from Hong Kong and starts a relationship with Sakura. Sakura now starts junior high, so that is a big kind of challenge for her as well. And then she has really random dreams as well, which kind of lead into her and her new powers. And the dreams are quite kind of cool at the same time because they're very, very weird. Special features. What do you get on them? Disc 1, you have a prologue to the actual series, which is Sakura and the Two Bears. This roughly lasts around about half an hour, about 20 minutes to half an hour. And then Disc 2, you get Tetris openings and closing, as well as a commentary on episode 9. So let's talk about the animation. The animation is very smooth. I like this. For me, it kind of looked like it was one of those like manga novels that you get, which it's all about romance. There were times when you looked at most scenes and everything was bright. It was kind of overdone, so it would go around the characters. So it kind of like it was like adding a kind of like a bright flare or feather effect. So the light would go around their heads as well as like all over, and it was very, very pretty. This was mainly done outside or in a well-lit room, and it was kind of annoying at times because it felt like, you know, when you wake up in the morning, you've got like everything's like kind of blurry until you rub your eyes. That's probably the best way that I could describe this. One thing that did annoy me is the whole thing is about Sakura going and grabbing the clear cards, but when it came up to the action scenes, there was hardly any about, and that kind of really ruined it. I thought that each episode would give you maybe 10 to 15 minutes of like the kind of action of her getting the cards, but majority of this was all about her going to high school, interacting with her friends, and that was it, and that kind of got a little bit annoying for me. One thing I really liked in this was when she would go against the cards, she'd go release, and then she'd say her spell to actually get the cards to become her friends, or you know, so she could own them. So that sort of animation I really liked, and the working of CGI in it was actually quite well. You saw some of them, like the students, they were CGI when like walking scenes and stuff, but when Sakura was actually like summoning Cloud to actually kind of capturing them, that kind of stood out with the CGI that way. Most of the time it felt with the cute stuff, the romantic stuff, it was kind of being well done over it. With Cardcaptors originally, if you weren't a big fan of it or if you didn't know about it, this new series of Cardcaptors Clear Card was meant to kind of bring it all back. But you know, if you haven't followed the series, and you know all these characters are kind of brand new, but you're meant to know them already, I can understand they would have new people coming in. So if you've not read the manga, watch the original series, then you know this felt very kind of, you weren't up to date. So with all the romantic stuff that they had in it, it kind of felt a bit like, oh, okay, I don't really like that. You know, it felt more focused on that. One of the nicer animations was when she releases a key and she spins her kind of the dream rod around. And then obviously when she's capturing the cards, these were really nicely done. And I really like the animation for this because it just felt like it was brand new all the time. And I don't know why, but when seeing it, I was like, I can dig this. I can dig this, definitely. One thing with Cardcaptors has always been the different outfits that Sakura wears. And when watching it, it was different. So one episode wouldn't be the same. So it wasn't like, oh, this is my generic uniform that I wear in every single fight or whatever. It was tailor-made for certain stuff. And I did generally think this was funny when she was like, oh my God, you've made this for me. Oh my God, what the hell? Or she was like, oh, you know, this is different. I thought this was fun. This was definitely something where it made the anime stand out. And even back in the day when you had the original Cardcaptors, they used this and they kept it flowing all the way through, which was a really nice touch. I couldn't really fault the animation. I just think that if they were to do the next lot or the next arc, that they toned down the kind of the brightness because it just kind of faded and it was a bit meh at times. Let's talk about the writing. The writing to me was mainly focused on the romantic side as well as the kind of school side as well as meeting our friends. Now, I know obviously this is a progression, this is like a continuation of the series, but I would have liked more kind of action, more fight scenes, more stuff with the clear cards because it felt like it was gearing to that. You had a lot of stuff at the very beginning where it was written to show mystery, like, you know, what are these about? You know, how do we know? Oh my god, this is different. And I like that kind of mystery style that they added in. But to me, I think that they could have changed it and actually had more action to the point where she got the cards, where she was able to go, hey, come on, you know, we're going to fight, we're going to do a bit more. It just felt like it was very more geared up to the romantic side. So if you took out all the elements of what she was meant to be doing, what her main mission was, you'd have a generic kind of high school romance anime that is pretty much widely known anywhere where people enjoy it. One thing I really liked is Sakura and her brother. The argument, the kind of interaction, I thought that was written really, really well because it was just a lot of fun. It was funny at times. It wasn't just the generic, ooh, it was... There would be times where he's dead sincere and he's like, oh, you know, how are you doing? And then add something in like, oh, I'm going to add broccoli into this. And she would just go, how dare you, you're mean. Little things like that, that really kind of made this for me that was kind of funny. Although this was fun at times, I did generally think that you could skip a lot of the episodes. So you could watch maybe the first few and then skip away to the end, which is kind of sad because I don't like doing that. I like seeing the progression, but because of this, I felt like, you know, I kind of guessed that she gets these cards. It also was written like it felt kind of slow as well, like mainly because of all the school stuff or seeing her friends type thing. You know, it felt very kind of slow, like there was no sort of build up until kind of near the end of part 1, where it was just like, yeah, let's just do this. You know, we got now 2 cloud cards, we get now a couple more than normal, so it felt like they were kind of rushing it. Maybe they're building up to a bigger arc in part 2, and then obviously after that as well. But I did like where it's going. There was so much mystery as well. This kind of like made it up, so you kind of thought like, what's going on? I need to know. And I think that kind of brings it in. So you kind of forget about it because Sakura's doing her thing. And then all of a sudden they bring in this element and you go like, oh yeah, they were discussing this. They don't know about the cards. But then they know about this mystery, about this huge, massive power coming. And that's what I generally liked because it felt different. But the way it was written was, we're now going to remind you much later on that it's still here. So, you know, put it in the back of your mind, put it there. But you will need to know what this happens later. So you need to kind of follow at the very beginning. So yeah, that was it. That was part of the writing. What made this interesting for me? I have to admit, when watching it, I wanted to know, is she going to get all the cards again? Because obviously they all went clear. You had this whole dream sequence, which we'll get to in a minute. But it was trying to get all the cards again. Would she do them again? Would other people have them? I kind of would like to see that. I can't remember much from the original series. But it'd be really interesting if sometime later, like a bad guy would be like, I've got these cards now. You have to fight me for them. And I thought, I kind of want to watch because of this. Also the dream sequence. At the very beginning, you're kind of brought up to this whole dream sequence where the cards are now clear, that you've got this guy who's got this huge, massive like power. He's got all these clocks everywhere. And I like that. I was like, this is something that you're not going to tell me straight away. And I kind of like this. You see this pop up randomly all the way through, but it's not like every single episode. It's like, this is what you've forgotten. This is the bad guy, so you need to keep your eyes on this, especially when later on one of the girls brings a book which has all the symbols, and I was like, that was cheeky, a little bit in there. I think that's cool, kind of cool. I think so far one of my favorite cards is Gravity, where Sakura uses it to bounce a lot, so she can keep jumping from place to place. I like the way that she used this card, and then much later on when she's got quite a few more, she uses them in combos, and I'm guessing much later on in the series she'll use a whole range of different cards in different orders, so she's able to either get more later or defeat bad guys. But I think using Gravity was a really good one, as well as using Siege, and I kind of really liked the fact that it wasn't a I know exactly. Like in some cards, I really like the way that she is able to use these different combos in these cards, where at the very beginning she only gets 1 or 2, but then much later on, as certain cards get harder and harder, she has to use multiple abilities. Other people have to use their abilities to be able to get it, and that's what I generally really liked. It felt very interesting to me. My all-time favorite one is Gravity, the way that she uses it, and then obviously some sort of cards wouldn't be affected by it, so that was kind of cool. So it wouldn't just be like, I'm going to use this card all the time, I'm going to use this card, and you know, it's like, oh no, that card doesn't work with it, so let's use something else. That I thought was actually really nice, and that's what piqued my interest. So my final thoughts. I liked what they did with some of the anime, and some of the ones I didn't like what they did with it. I felt like they could have made something different where, you know, there's a whole new set of cards that have just appeared, rather than using the cloud cards and then turning them into clear cards. It could have been a whole new set, a whole new threat, and I think that would have been kind of interesting, rather than a retelling of the same story but with updated animation as well as graphics, as well as adding in stuff that they couldn't do back to when I saw it on Fox Kids. Now I know that some of the voices have changed. I remember Lee being really kind of like deeper. I don't know why, I just remember him being like which I generally kind of missed, but his new voice actor is fine. All the voices are okay. I do think that they focused way too much on the kind of the school life, the love life. I didn't kind of like that too much, because it felt when it came to the most important scenes that it was over really quickly. And I generally think that when you watch it, it's more like, okay, I'm watching a slice of life anime. I'm watching stuff that I've already seen. This is a generic high school love anime, rather than it being about what it is. There are some elements where they throw in and say, hey, you know, I'm going to go get these different cards, but to me, it kind of focused way too much on the school and also the love life. One thing I really liked was Sakura's costume changes. I think that was very different and very unique, and it gave each episode something slightly different. The way that Sakura used the cards as well, that was actually kind of cool with the different combos. And I also really love the music. I think the music for when she releases the key as well, I think that's actually really cool. It's possibly one of my favorite transformation musics. It's not the best, but it's one of my favorite, and it kind of really stood out. It was kind of soft, but it literally brought you in and was like, shiz is going to go down, stuff is going to go down for this right now. But I like that sort of thing, because I knew that she meant business. The story did flow, but I think it flowed very slowly, and it could have picked up the pace. So I'm hoping in part 2 that we're going to see a lot more of it, and it's not just going to be the same generic stuff with each episode, where first of all it's like, here's a new character, they become friends, they spend time at school, and then later on it's more like, oh, there's like a minute worth of animation where she gets the next clear card, blah blah blah. So I hope that they kind of change that. If you're into card captors and you've not seen this is perfect. This is 100% for you. I really like the original series, so it was kind of nice seeing this, but I did get kind of a little bit bored of it. If you're into card captors and you've not seen the new series, this is for you. I would pick it up straight away. It's worth every penny that you're going to spend for it. If you want something that's kind of new and invested to kind of tell briefly the original stories, then again, this is for you. This is something that I would recommend picking up. If you're kind of like, first anime, I kind of not recommend it, but it's still good. So it's up to you. If you like it, that's cool. Let me know down below in the comments what you actually think about it. Links to where you can pre-order are going to be in the description. If you're watching this much later on, then links to where you can buy it is going to be in the description as well. And that's where I am going to wrap up this first review of 2019. If you've liked this video, like, favorite, comment, and consider subscribing. Check out all the other videos on the channel. Hit the notification bell for more video dropping things. You know what I mean. And as always, Rangers, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a bit.